gentlemen, welcome to Pint Time with Backpacker Mike, episode 317. Hiking the Appalachian Trail. This is actually going to be a 2, possibly 3-part series over the next couple Saturdays, but basically today we're talking about the granddaddy of them all, and that is the Appalachian Trail. It is 2,190 miles from Georgia to Maine, and most people think that the hardest part is the mountains, but honestly, it's managing your budget, knowing where to sleep, and not blowing all of your cash in the first month. So drop a comment below if you want to walk the AT, the Appalachian Trail, or have you walked it, or if you know anybody who's walked it. Drop it in the comments below. I am actually playing because I have not personally walked the Appalachian Trail yet. I would like to walk it, and we'll probably do it next year, possibly, if I can get my behind into shape. But either way, this is another guy that I put on here that's actually walking the AT, and it is Outdoor Adventures on YouTube. It's called the Appalachian Trail, A Journey of the Soul. So I figured that we could play his 1 hour and 41 minute video behind us so you guys can get an idea of what the Appalachian Trail looks like there. So we're going to get into a few things today. I do know someone who hiked portions of the Appalachian Trail, and that is my cousin, Laura, who I don't talk to very much. However, I know many years ago she walked it. She was going to try to do a through hike. I believe she got injured. She injured her ankle or something like that, somewhere around Virginia, I believe, or Pennsylvania. And she goes back. She's been going back off and on ever since, trying to do little section hikes here and there to complete it, I think. So, all right, I'm going to show you guys the beers that I have to try today. So we're going to do those, and then we will get on with the show. I've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know, 7 pages of notes again. So basically today I'm going to give you a little bit of a brief overview of everything, from certain costs and foods and things like that. A very brief overview of that. Also, like where to stay, whether it's free, how much it might cost. And then I'm going to get into some historical things that you can see while you are walking the Appalachian Trail. And then the next episode will be more about, like, what backpacks, what type of clothes you should bring, what you should pack, food you should pack, and things like that. And then if I do a part 3, then that will probably dive into maybe some more of logistics and things like that. So there you go. All right, in the meantime, let me show you guys the craft beers that I have to try for you today. I just have some lagers today. Hopefully they'll end up turning out pretty decent. Looks like this one has some hops in it though. This is called Sunshine Blonde Ale. It's by South Beach Brewing Company, and I believe South Beach Brewing Company is out of Miami, if I'm not mistaken. Miami. It comes in at 24 IBU, American 2-row plus Carapils and Cascade hops. I don't know if I've ever had Carapils, but anyway, they're in St. Petersburg, Florida. I forgot. I've had South Beach before, and it's pretty good. Hey, good to see you on, Sherry. Thanks for jumping on. Hola, ¿cómo está? Hey, that's okay. I understand you're busy. And yay for graduation for Jax. That was awesome. I saw a little video. I love the clap out. That was pretty awesome. Always wondering what kind of foods and drinks someone would take with them doing extensive hiking, like endurance or hydration. Yeah, for sure. I'm not going to get into that too much today. However, next Saturday I will. And honestly, to invest in a dehydrator is probably one of the best options. I'm going to be looking at some dehydrators, possibly. You can dehydrate entire meals and make them really light, and then all you gotta do is just add hot water back to it to rehydrate it, and it's good. Like spaghetti and meatballs and stuff. So, but yeah, there's some of that, and then obviously, you know, your grains and your nuts and you know, granola and things like that. But whatever you pack, you don't want it to be super heavy because you got to carry it on your back, and especially when you're walking through mountains like, you know, in Virginia and West Virginia and places like that. Krill, Charles, what's up? Good to see you guys on. Yes, evening, Krill. It's a bit late over there for you. Probably, what, like 2200? Somewhere around there? But yeah, Sherry, I'll be getting into a lot of that on next Saturday. I'm going to talk about food, what to pack, how many, you know, socks, and all of that stuff. I'm going to give a little bit of that today, but not so much of it. Otherwise, I would have had like a 5-hour live show. But anyway, South Beach out of St. Pete. This one is, as I said, a Sunshine Blonde Ale with some hops in it. The next one I got is from the Orchard, and it is a peach lager. Comes in at 5%, and it is brewed by RAR Brewing in Cambridge, Maryland. I have never had a RAR, so that ought to be good. Good. 11:17 p.m. Oh, 23:17. 23:17. And then the next one I have is Green Man White Beard White Ale. Comes in at 5% on the Richter scale. Pretty cool artwork there. I love that. That guy right there. I don't know what he's supposed to be. Maybe some kind of winter wizard or something. I'm not sure. White ale brewed with orange and lemon peel. That ought to be interesting. Crafted with pure Asheville imagination. So they must be from Asheville, North Carolina. North Kakalaki. Yep. Brewed and canned by Green Man Brewing Company in Asheville, North Carolina. I've never had Green Man Brewing either. So I've got a RAR Brewing, which I see a lot of the people I follow doing craft beers on there that have had RAR, and I don't think I've ever had it. So anyway, as tradition goes on the show, you guys pick which one you want me to try first. Would you like me to do the Sunshine Blonde Ale? It's got cool artwork on there too. It's got like a lemon, a big smile on his face. I'm not exactly sure what these are supposed to be. I don't know. It says north, south, east, and west, so... Oh, wait. No, that's palm trees. Never mind. Or the peach. We got the peach lager by RAR, and then we have Green Man Brewing out of North Kakalaki. The white beard. So you guys pick which one you want me to try first. And we will give these beers a try, and then we'll get into the show. So until someone picks a beer, I'm just going to jump right into it. Basically, the cold hard cash is what it costs in 2026. That's the biggest thing that people might have an issue with as far as walking the Appalachian Trail. Myth versus reality. The old saying used to be you spend $1 a mile, all right? And that's 2,190 miles. So roughly you would spend $2,190. However, with inflation and everything that is going on today, if you went off of that, you'd be stranded more than likely in Virginia somewhere. Now, I will say this, however, that you can cut costs in certain ways and certain things that you can do. You know, whether you don't stay once a week in a hostel area and you camp out, you know, for like 2 weeks and maybe stay once a month in somewhere or something like that. You ask for donations from friends and family to send you, you know, foods and things to snack on and stuff like that. So that will save you from going into town and buying other foods. So there's a lot of different ways that you can actually cut back on those costs some. You know, and it might not be a luxury to do so, but you can still cut back on the costs. All right, Sherry, you got Green Man White Beard White Ale. It does look really interesting. I really kind of like that. I'm surprised you didn't go for the blonde. All right, let's see. White beard. I just want to see if it said anything that was in it. It just says with orange and lemon peel. So I'm assuming it's like a white ale with a sort of a zesty notes. of citrus. I don't know. You get like the lager or the ale vibes off of it, but I'm not getting much of like a lemon or an orange peel. Maybe a little orange. All right, let's see what it's all about. Here we go. Cheers.
Is this true? It's really Harry Potter. Harry Potter. Are you?
Woo! Harry Potter commercial on. Why does that taste like a white stout?
Saying yes can be hard with severe asthma, but you can.
Oh, come on. YouTube's always full of ads. Have you ever been watching like YouTube and in the middle of the show you're watching, the ad comes on and they fit like 5 or 6 ads in a 60-second period? Like, how many ads do you have to run? I don't ever click on an ad on YouTube to go check it out, so I don't know who does, but... Anyway, it's pretty good. It has a bit of a odd sort of flavor to it. However, it's not too bad. It's a pretty looking beer. A little hazy. It is kind of refreshing. I could see drinking this during a hot sunny day for sure. It's not bad. It's hard to explain though. It's like an ale, so you know, think of like Budweiser. Well, I think Budweiser's a lager, but think of an ale, which an ale is basically a little lighter lager. And then it has these kind of funky, sort of citrusy, zesty notes in it, like the lemon and the orange peel. It has a little bitterness at the end, so I'm just curious if they threw some hops in there as well. But it's not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 6. I'm going to give it a 6. I'd still drink it again if it was offered to me. So I would definitely drink that again. And it's probably a lot better on draft. I feel like the hard pour was a lot better than out of the can. So after that, we're going to go to the South Beach. We're going to go to the Sunshine Blonde and see what this is about. It's got a 24 IBU, so it's going to be a little bitter, I'm assuming, from the hops that are in there. So here's a little thing for you to guess on. How many pairs of shoes do you think a thru-hiker that walks... So someone walks the entire Camino, they're called a thru-hiker. So how many pairs of hiking shoes, or boots, do you think one goes through as a thru-hiker on the Appalachian Trail for 2,190 miles? Let's take a guess. A stab in the dark. That's actually pretty good too. Why is it? It has like a, I don't know, kind of like a sweet smell to it. Just as American 2-row. It's a bit bready, just like a regular ale or lager would be. Charles says 4. Very good. Between 4 to 5 pairs. Between 4 to 5 pairs of shoes. So that's part of your expenses. And the shoes, the hiking shoes, are not cheap. So you're probably looking at about $400, $500, $600 just in shoes. And it does take roughly about 5 to 6 months, give or take, to walk the entire Appalachian Trail. This is really good. I actually kind of like this. It would have been better had they just left the hops out of it, but it's pretty good. I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna give this one a 6.5. 6.5. Not too bad. All right, and then we got one more to pour out right here, and that's the peach one. And I'm really hoping for 3 extra pairs. Yeah, you don't want to carry all of them with you. I just remember reading a stat about the average pair of footwear lasting around 500 miles. Yeah, that's about accurate. 500 to 600 miles. When I walked the the Camino across Spain and France. I walked 600, I think it was like 620 something miles. And I did it on one pair of shoes. However, I still have that pair of shoes. There was like almost zero tread on them by the time I got done. They were busted out a little bit on the sides, but I kept going. And they were broke in. Now, I did have to replace the inserts, I think, once or twice along the way, but yeah. So that's where you start out the AT with one pair of shoes. Now, while you're walking the Appalachian Trail, I'm going to start saying AT, so if anybody gets confused, just know it's the Appalachian Trail. They have spots along the way where people can send you, friends and family or just random people who might be following your social media while you're doing the Camino. There's spots where they can send you care packages. So people could send you snacks. They can send you your new pair of hiking shoes, a new pair of hiking shorts or pants or whatever along the way, periodically. Probably about once a month, once every month and a half or something. You'll probably need to replace your shoes, maybe some shorts and pants. So I think I'll get into it a little bit later, but the ideal time to leave to go do the Appalachian Trail is sometime around February or March, because it's going to take 5 or 6 months. So the more you move north, the more winter starts to disappear, hopefully. But then the rainy season comes in, and there's been times on the Camino where I've seen people, on the Appalachian Trail, where people set rain for like a whole week. So sometimes it's just too much rain and too much lightning and stuff for you to be out. And that's where you're going to need that money to stay in like a hostel or a hotel in a small town or something like that. So yeah, but long story short, 4 to 5 pairs of shoes. Oh, that smells good. That smells like peach, actually. I'm just curious if they use peach concentrate, but let's see. This says mosaic hops and blueberries. Brewed with mosaic hops and blueberries. And it's peach. So does that mean it's brewed with peaches, blueberries, and mosaic hops? Sometimes I wish they would just leave the hops out of things. Mosaic hops are generally like pretty florally, if that makes sense. So I mean, it kind of makes sense to have it with, peach and a blueberry, but it just gives a little funky flavor at the end. It's not very peach forward, so you just get these subtle notes of peaches. Let's do a hard pour, see if that changes anything real quick, and then we will get on with more like the cost breakdown. There you go. Looks pretty good. The hard pour gives off a lot of peach. The hard pour is the way to go. You still got those hops in there, but the hard pour for me is the way to go. So if I were to go to Raw Brewing and they had this on tap, I would probably get it on tap for sure. It's pretty good. It's not bad. I'm gonna give this one a 6.5 as well. 6.5 as well. We've been stuck in the 6.5 range, and I'm running out of beers here, and I already made a run to Total Wines more not long ago, and doing this show and buying craft beers is not cheap either. All right, so let's get into the cost breakdown. Why'd you skip? Does it help to have a lightweight boot or a high top, or does that not make a difference? Thinking about ankle support. That's a bit of a, I don't know. There's a huge debate about that in the hiking world. Like if you were to say talk to my friend Yoshi over in Germany who loves to hike, he would say, you need at least like a, quarter high or something that gives you some ankle support. especially, you know, if you're walking over, varying terrain, whether it's, you know, rocks like this or tree stumps and things like that. So the hiking shoes that I used walking the entire Camino actually have my second pair on today. And these are getting worn out too, and I'm going to have to replace these because obviously there's not much tread on them. But these are the Sauconys, and I absolutely love these Sauconys. These are obviously a short one. Now, you could put ankle bracelets on if you wanted or whatever, but I use these to walk the Camino, and I was totally fine. And there are some treacherous spots to walk on the Camino where you're, you know, walking over tree stumps and rocks and stuff like that. So it's a bit of a debate. I would say, you know, just go with what feels comfortable to you. And if you know that you're going to be hiking in a kind of area where you may potentially twist an ankle, you can always pack some of those ankle support things, you know, that you can buy at the store. You just kind of pull it over your foot and pull it up over your ankle, and you can wear them for that day or those 2 days that you're traveling through areas, you know, like this, and then you could just take it off when you hit a flatter area or something like that. But also definitely lightweight boots, in my opinion. You don't need like steel toes or any of that type of stuff when you're hiking. I mean, unless you're going through like rattlesnake infested areas or something. But yeah, I would say the lighter, the better. Like these Sauconys that I have, I think they only weigh, total weight, I think is only like 2.8 pounds or something between the two of them. They're very light on my feet. And that just helps you as far as walking. Like you don't want a whole lot of weight on your back and your backpack, and you don't want a whole lot of weight on your feet. So yeah, I would say light, and then as far as your preference, whether you want quarter height, high tops, or if you just want to go with a shoe like I did. But very good question, Sherry. Very good question. Sharon, what is up, cuz? Happy you made it. All right, so cost breakdown. These are only budget prices, but you can spend ridiculous amounts of money if you choose to while you're walking the Camino. God, guys, stop saying the Camino. While you're walking the AT or the Appalachian Trail. Now, you can go on a budget level, which is what I'm going to give you guys, or you could go on some sort of luxury craziness thing that might cost you like $8,000 to $10,000 to walk the AT in, you know, 5 or 6 months, and that's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. That's somebody who's too bougie but wants to get the acknowledgement that they walked it, in my humble opinion. But anyway, so gear up front, like we're talking, you know, hiking boots, shoes, clothes, backpacks, sleeping bags, one-person tents, or tarps, whichever you choose to use. All of that stuff, the gear up front could be $800 to $1,200. Now, you can obviously pick, you know, lesser options than that. These are all just averages. Like if you go to, say, Walmart and find a decent backpack, it's going to do the same thing that an expensive Osprey backpack is going to do for the most part. You know, just be picky and choosy about what you get. Make sure that what I liked with backpacks, and I'm going to get into gear more so in the next episode when I start talking about food to bring. But when it comes to backpacks, I prefer a top load or a front load. So like the backpacks that I have, that I traveled with, there's a zipper that opens up the top of it, so it's kind of like a suitcase. I can get the things in there easy. And then it also has a stuff sack part on the top that you just kind of pull open, and I can stuff everything in there and cinch it shut. If you just have the stuff sack backpack, then you have to keep in mind of what to pack and how to pack it based off of what you're going to use the most versus what you're going to use the least. Because obviously if there's a stuff sack, You don't want something that you're going to use regularly at the bottom of the sack, because then you got to pull everything out of it to get to the bottom of it, and you don't want to do that, right? So, but with the front load sack, front load lid, you can unzip it and get to everything that you need to get to without even using the other part. So, gotta run, not literally. Take care, Mike. No problem. I know, no running for you. But I appreciate you jumping on, Sherry. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Always, always, always. So anyway, when it comes to the gear up front, $800 to $1,200. However, you can, like I said, you can find cheaper options and you can get through it. And I'll tell you a little bit more why you can get through it with cheaper options later on in the show. On the trail food, meaning this is the food that you eat while you're on the trail that you pack in your sack and all that stuff. Roughly $400 a month. So I don't know what people are eating, but if you're buying stuff like this, like Gatorades and bags of chips and Doritos and stuff like that, yeah, the cost is gonna raise up, I'm sure. Town stays and food while in town. Now you want to do this minimally, especially if you're going on a budget level. So you don't want to go staying in town every night. You want to camp as much as possible, pitch your tent, stay in a lean-to, whatever. But town stays and food for the trip could cost you about $600, roughly. $600 a month, or $600 every other month, however you want to work it out. Monthly on the trail is roughly around $1,000, and you're looking at 5-6 months on the trail. And again, this is just an average price, so you can do it for a lot less than that. You're just gonna have to give up a few, you're just gonna have to give up a few luxuries or things that you want to do. The total hike cost for about 5 to 6 months is roughly around $5,000 to $6,000 to hike it. I don't plan on spending that much when I do it, but we'll see. I hope I don't. But yeah, I plan on doing, as long as I can get my behind in shape. I'm planning on doing the Appalachian Trail next year, probably February, March. I may start on Dad's birthday on February 19th. Hey, babe, it's good to see you on. Yay, busy. I saw your YouTube was changing slowly. Yes, Morgan, it is slowly but surely. I've been stuck at the table for the last 2 weeks working on everything and trying to promote this damn coffee brand and so much stuff. So much stuff, and do the notes for the show and all of that. But anyway, slowly it is changing. I got a new header up there. Started the community thing. Upload the last 2 Pint Times to there, and this one will be uploaded to there tomorrow as well. So slowly but surely. All right, you can obviously cut some corners, like I said, to save some money in certain areas, whether it's with food or with lodging. Now, whenever I do it, I am probably going to plan on just staying in the woods, except for once a month, maybe getting a hostel or a room somewhere just to get a really nice, good shower, other than just, jumping in a creek or a river or something and washing off in. So the number one reason that people quit the Appalachian Trail, I mean, this is beautiful. The views are beautiful. Isn't actually injury, it's because they ran out of money, because they're running out of money. It's also good, like I said, to have around a $1,500 slush fund, basically, for emergency medical issues, It could be something simple where you got to go to a minute clinic or something like that, but you're still going to have to pay the fee. You know, twist your ankle or, you know, bruise yourself something or whatever it might be. Sprain an ankle. Or sudden gear failures, which I have while I was traveling the Camino. I had the zipper on my backpack bust. And so I had to take a belt strap, like a luggage strap, borrow one from my mate Mike, which, funny story, I borrowed it from him and wrapped it around my pack. And he told me to hold on to it. And so I held on to it. That was in 2016. Then I held on to it in 17. And then in 18, I brought it with me. And I took it with me when I flew from Orlando to London. And his strap traveled in my backpack all over Europe, Africa, Thailand, all the way to Australia. And he didn't know I was bringing it with me. And so when we got back to his house and I was unpacking my backpack, and I came out of the room and I said, "Oh yeah, mate, I forgot to tell you I brought you this." And he goes, "Oh my God, mate, that's my strap." I was like, "Yeah, that's your strap," because I wasn't expecting you to bring it. So yeah, it was kind of funny. I said, "Yeah, it's traveled with me all around the world, brother," and now you get to have it back. So anyway, pretty cool. All right, ways to camp and places to stay while walking the Camino. Need a PR and marketing team. I know, right, Morgan? I tried to recruit somebody, but but he's working on his own thing. Also, need to start doing some YouTube shorts. The algorithm is pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start cutting down some of these. I might. But see, the shorts. What's the max on the shorts? Is it like 1 minute, 2 minutes? I forget what the max is on the shorts. It might be less than that. I don't know. So I have to figure out what to actually put in for the shorts. Maybe I could just do a bunch of B-roll type stuff. So ways to camp. Ways to camp and places to stay. The AT lean-to shelters. These are free to stay at. And, man, I got ad after ad after ad on this. Anyway, the AT lean-to shelters, if you're not familiar with the lean-to shelter, it's basically like a three-sided wooden shelter, basically that the front is completely open. 1 minute, I think. I normally aim for 30 seconds. TikTok, it's 30 minutes. Instagram is 5 minutes. TikTok's bumped it up to 30 minutes? Oh, you know what? I think I did get a thing for TikTok about longer videos now. This is a thing, Morgan, and I don't mean to get sidetracked, but this is a thing that kills me these days, is that retention of someone watching something. Everybody is just so flick. Like, I'm from the old school. I pull up somebody, I watch them, I give them a chance. I might find something a little interesting about them that makes me want to watch a little bit more. And sometimes I will watch a 15, 20, 30-minute video, an hour video. But so many people out there have such a short attention span now. It's just, I mean, if they just flick, and sometimes I think that they just flick even if they think, oh, that's kind of funny, haha, and they don't watch the whole thing and they just keep flicking. Or they'll say, oh, that looks kind of cool, and then they'll flick. They'll watch, you know, when I go into like my TikToks and stuff and I look, it's like average watch time is ridiculous. Like, you didn't even pay attention. Even the short ones that are funny, it's like, I don't know. It's just weird. But people's attention spans have gone to shit lately, honestly. And it's just not younger kids. It's even people my age and Gen Xers. They just don't give anybody any moment of time. It's like they want short this, short that, short. I mean, there's no way you can't put like an entire if you walk the entire AT, you can't drop that into 30 seconds. You can't drop that into 60 seconds. I might be able to make a brief little flip video of 3 or 4 minutes. If you walk the entire AT, like, it's just ridiculous. The time of attention span is just ridiculous these days. The same old school. I sometimes just watch the same creators for hours. Like, these videos are 45 minutes long. Yeah, and I'm the same way. And I watch it. But also being a video editor and a traveler and things like that, I watch and I see how they edit the video. And I look at other things as well along the way, but yeah, I'm not a flipper person. I mean, there's some things, but anyway. So these lean-to shelters, they're about 250 three-sided wooden shelters along the trail, and they're spaced roughly between 10 to 15 miles apart, which is reasonable. They expect you to do roughly about 10 to 15 miles a day, give or take. They feature nearby water sources and private toilets. The pros here are no tent setup, but in the rain. No tent setup in the rain, so like if you get to one and it's raining, you don't have to worry about trying to set your tent up and everything getting wet. You can just go into this lean-to. Now the cons are there's probably going to be, depending on how many people that you end up getting bunched up with, there might be 4 or 5 people sleeping in that lean-to. And when you do that, you just throw down your camping pad and you pull out your sleeping bag and you just bundle up in your sleeping bag and you go to sleep. So there might be people in there, so you might get snoring, which doesn't really bother me. You might get some mice in some situations, so you want to make sure that your food is sealed up so that nothing gets into it. What some people will do is they'll put their pack in the sleeping bag with them if their sleeping bag's big enough, and they'll zip everything up so your pack and everything is in there. Or some people will carry dry sacks, which I did when I was traveling, and some people have a dry sack big enough for their backpack to fit in, and then that just rolls up and kind of seals shut. So there's nothing really getting in there. I mean, they could chew through it still, I guess, but hopefully we'd hear them. And then zero privacy, obviously, because now you may hit a lean-to and there might be one other person there, or there might be nobody there because, you know, people decide to go on to the next one or do 20 miles that day or whatever. So you may hit a few of those lean-tos where there's nobody in there, and then you got the whole place to yourself. So dispersed tenting is also free. So this is basically where you set up your tent near a lean-to or at designated clearings where they have tents available. It's best for light sleepers who want privacy but still want to be near a water source, because most of those places have a water source, whether it's fresh water flowing from a creek. So if that's the case, you still want to run it through a filter system, which I'll get into that in the next episode next Saturday. So you can use different, straw filters and things like that. I always carry iodine tablets with me while I was walking or traveling, just in case I got in a situation where I really needed water, but I just didn't have, a filter to filter it. So you could drop a couple of iodine tablets in there, shake it up, let it dissolve, wait a few minutes, it'll kill everything in there. But you don't want to drink that water on a regular basis. So the other thing is hiker hostels. They'll cost you about $25 to $50 a night, give or take. And this is the lifeblood of the AT. These are basically like communal bunkhouses. So just think like a hostel, Airbnb. Well, not really Airbnb, but like a hostel or an albergue if you walk the Camino, things like that. Now, these bunkhouses are generally run by former hikers who hike the AT. And so they offer a room or things like that for you. They offer a mattress, hot showers, laundry. And also you can get some of the best local trail intel while you're on there as well. There's also another option. It's called Trail Angels and Work for Stay. So basically it's like a donation or work. So some locals open their homes and yards for free donation. $20 is generally what the recommended dollar amount is to donate, but you don't have to give 20. You can give 10 if that's all you can afford, or you don't have to give anything if you can't afford anything to stay there. But some of these people that are near the trail will give up, say, their backyard, and there'll be 4 or 5 people setting up tents in their backyard. And then in New Hampshire, AMC huts allow a limited amount of hikers to wash dishes or sweep floors in exchange for basically a place to sleep, a bunk, a hot shower, and some leftover meals that they might have. It could be rice and beans or something or whatever, but it could give you something like that. So you just have to do a little bit of work around there, and you pay for your stay and you pay for a leftover meal. Now, legendary stops and trail towns, and I'm going to get into these a little bit more here shortly, but you're not just walking a trail. Basically, you're walking through American history and incredible local communities while you're walking. And you get some sweet vistas like this where you just overlook all of the mountains and the woods and the trees and everything. So I'm going to give you 4 iconic stops and not to skip, and then I'm going to get into some more after this as well. So Damascus, Virginia, it's called Trail Town, USA. The trail literally runs right down the sidewalk, right through Main Street, and it's an incredibly hiker-friendly area. It's home to the famous Trail Days Festival, and it's packed with affordable hostels to stay at, between like $20, $30 a night. Another one is Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, which I'm going to get into this a little bit more later, but this is considered the psychological halfway point and the headquarters of the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, which is the ATC. So these are the people who oversee the Appalachian Trail. They conserve it, conservate it, or whatever you want to say. And also it's rich in Civil War history, stunning red brick architecture, and where you can get your official thru-hiker photo taken. And they will post it on their website. And then I believe if you complete it at the end, they will take another picture of you at the end, and it will be posted on their website as someone who has physically completed the thru-hike of the Camino. The next one is the Delaware Water Gap in Pennsylvania, and it's home to the famous Church of the Mountain Hostel, which is one of the oldest donation-based hostels on the trail. It's one of the oldest. And also it's home to legendary bakeries, so if you want to get some fresh bread to take with you, these are other things that you want to take with you while you're doing these long hikes, is things that won't go bad fast. So like bread, dried meats, cured meats like salami, things like that will last a while without being refrigerated. Another one is Munson, Maine, and it's the final outpost before you tackle the grueling 100-mile wilderness before you get to the end. The AT kind of gets you in the middle, and then it gets you at the very end. It's an old logging town turned hiker sanctuary, and it's perfect for resting up before your final push to Mount Catahindin, I think. I don't know. I'm probably saying that wrong. Now here's some more history of things to see while you're walking the Appalachian Trail. And like I said, I'm going to get into Harper's Ferry a little bit more here. But the Civilian Conservation Corps, or the CCC infrastructure, it's basically much of the trail's foundational architecture was built in the 1930s by the CCC, which was basically a Depression-era public works relief program to give people jobs, because people couldn't find work and everyone was out of jobs, and we were in a major depression. And so the government decided to fund some of these programs like the Civilian Conservation Corps, where people could work and for the government basically, and help them make some sort of money. So as you hike the trail, look at the trail itself closely, because you might see hand-carved, I should say, stone steps. In rugged areas like the Smoky Mountains or New York's Bear Mountain, these massive stone staircases you walk up were carved and hauled by hand by young men earning just $1 a day in the 1930s. Just $1 a day. You might also see historic fire towers dotted across the ridges, especially in North Carolina and Vermont, where they had a lot of fires back then, are towering steel and wood fire lookouts, basically built by the CCC. And you can actually climb them and get a 360 view of what the original trailblazers saw back when they first started walking the Camino. Also, while you're walking the Camino, you can get into deep Civil War history there, because the trail crosses the Mason-Dixon line and cuts right through the heart of the Mid-Atlantic region, and intersects directly with Civil War battlefields as well. Like Harper's Ferry, right? There's a lot of history around Harper's Ferry, and the trail literally crosses the bridge over the Potomac River and drops you into Harper's Ferry National Historical Park, where you can actually walk the same streets where John Brown staged his famous 1859 raid on the Federal Armory, and that event basically helped ignite the Civil War in 1859. If you're not familiar with that, I believe he was a freed slave or something like that. He got a bunch of other slaves and also some white folks to help him. They were raiding the armory with the intention of, gaining more slaves' freedoms in the South. I believe they were all captured, and I believe he was executed by firing squad after his court case was done. So anyway, Harper's Ferry is very cool. Would be a very cool thing to stop and see. So again, when you're doing this trip, you not only want to just focus on the walk, but you want to focus on the things around you and the history around you and the nature around you and things like that. So take a day or two and stop and visit these things and learn this stuff. So the ruins of ghost towns and abandoned industry, like Pine Grove Furnace State Park, Pennsylvania. Long before it became the psychological midpoint of the AT and the home of the official Appalachian Trail Museum, this park was a bustling 18th century ironworking or iron-making community. The museum itself is housed in a 200-year-old grist mill, and you can still tour the historic ironmaster's mansion that is nearby. Also, you can see overgrown homesteads and stone walls. Now, throughout Pennsylvania, Virginia, and New England, you will frequently notice stone walls running randomly through the deep woods. Basically, these were property boundaries in the 19th century or the 1800s for subsistence farms and pastures that were abandoned when the soil gave out. So they farmed it so much that the soil just could not produce anything anymore. It's a haunting reminder that families who used to scratch out a living on these mountains and how they met their demise, so to speak, because the soil just gave out. Also, you can visit the birthplace of the trail idea, which I didn't know this, but Stratton Mountain, Vermont. In 1900, a man named Benton McKay climbed a tree at the summit of Stratton Mountain. Looking out over the wilderness, he conceived the grand vision for a continuous super trail connecting the entire East Coast to give urban workers an escape back to nature. Pretty cool. In Bear Mountain State Park in New York, this is where the rubber actually met the road when it came to the Appalachian Trail. Why? Because this was the very first official section of the AT that was built right here by volunteer hiking clubs, and it opened in 1923, 4 years before my dad was born. So my dad was not older than the Appalachian Trail. Yay. Now, another thing is the pioneer lore. If you've ever looked into the AT or, well, if you've ever done any search on the AT or you've ever watched any documentary on the AT, you have probably heard of this person. And that's Grandma Gatewood. Grandma Gatewood. At the museum in Pennsylvania, you can view actual artifacts of Emma Grandma Gatewood. Now, remember I mentioned before how you can do the AT for a lot cheaper if you really wanted to. And this is why I say this, because Grandma Gatewood in 1955, at the age of 67 years old, after raising 11 children and surviving a lifetime of domestic abuse by her husband, she became the first woman ever to thru-hike the AT solo in a single season. So at 67 years old, and after having 11 kids, she literally did the entire Appalachian Trail hike. She did it wearing a simple pair of Keds sneakers, carrying a homemade denim sack over her shoulder, and sleeping under a shower curtain as she went along. Insane. Her story is a legendary piece of the trail history that basically embodies true grit and determination. Absolutely, for sure. I have seen a documentary on her, and I've seen photos of her from back then, still black and white photos. But what an amazing, amazing woman. I can't imagine. So she literally hiked it with one pair of shoes. I don't know how she did it, but they were probably not much left of the shoes by the time she finished. And she just carried a small denim sack with her. So it was like she was out for a Sunday stroll, but walked 2,190 miles. So my takeaway of this episode, and then we'll get into episode 2 next Saturday of the AT. And when people ask if the AT is just a long walk in the woods, the answer is absolutely no. It's a living timeline of American preservation, labor, and wartime history. Every mountain gap has a story, and every historic town along the way has a deep-rooted cultural heritage waiting to be discovered. So, pretty awesome. So next week's show, basically I'll cover more of the Appalachian Trail, from what to pack with clothing, backpack options, food options, and more. So that will be on the next week's episode, and I'll talk about dehydrating foods and things like that as well, and little snacks you might want to pack. Now, it's not something where you got to constantly eat all the time. However, you are going to have to consume a lot of calories because you're going to be burning a lot of calories. So you need like calorie dense, rich foods. So we'll get into that. So with that, would any of you guys like to watch or walk the Appalachian Trail? Or some people section hike it. They might do it over several years, and they'll just do different sections of the Appalachian Trail along the way. I feel like I probably said Camino more than I should have, but the Appalachian Trail is what we're talking about. This guy that I have his video up, he's actually walking through some snow now. That's what happens sometimes when you start in February or March in the South, and then obviously you get those weird snowstorms coming up and mix of snow and rain and all of that. Yeah, when we leave it. Hey, Robin, what's up? Thank you, Sharon. Yeah, I don't know. I'm contemplating on starting it February next year. I think I might want to start on my dad's birthday, or at least maybe the day after my dad's birthday. February 19th. So my thought process right now is I want to walk the Appalachian Trail, obviously, for personal reasons, but also I may be looking into trying to partner with a dementia nonprofit where 90% of the proceeds go to a dementia nonprofit since Dad had dementia. So I was thinking about doing something along those lines. So I just got to try to find one to reach out to, and I don't know that I really want like a nationalized one. I'm not sure yet, because sometimes not the majority of the money goes to the actual research for it. So I don't know. I got to do some research of my own on that, but that's kind of like my thought process too, to make it a little bit more special. But yeah, so my plan as of right now, as long as I can get my behind in shape over the next several months, is to start it in February. And I'll be starting in North Georgia. So it'll be roughly 5 to 6 months. So if I start in February, March, April, May, June, July, hopefully by July, August time frame, I will be finishing up and then hitch a ride back home. So, and then I would like to do the Camino one more time. So, oh my, that's massive, bro. Greg just brought me some bean and ham soup. It's a massive bowl.
With some cornbread.
With some cornbread shoved in it. Yeah, thanks, bro.
Yeah.
That's a massive bowl of bean and ham soup. Great idea. That's awesome. Thanks, Robin. You must do live shows. Yeah, absolutely. If I have service, I will definitely be doing live shows on the AT. Plus I'll be doing videos of the entire thing. I'll be uploading videos probably daily, little snippet videos of my travels for that day. So yeah, I'll be, if I can do it daily. Again, it all depends on service and things like that. But absolutely, yeah, I would definitely do a live show. I'd probably try to do a live show every Saturday. I might not be having a beer on the live show, but who knows, maybe. Oh, they're in a lean-to right now, so you can kind of see like what that lean-to is like. It fits maybe 6 or 8 people in there or something. But I gotta try Chef Greg's bean and ham soup. Check it out. Oh, that's good. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to eat this whole bowl though. That's really good. Good job, Greg. So does anybody have any other questions about the Appalachian Trail? You guys hitting the history. I'm sure it's going to be an interesting journey for sure. It's going to be a long trip. 5 to 6 months. That's going to be a long time. But yeah, also on my Facebook, I'll be posting like where I'm going to be. So if anybody wants to drop a package of snacks or whatever along the way, we'll be able to do that, or a pair of shoes or some shorts or socks or something. So I think it'll be a pretty amazing journey, and hopefully I can make it all the way. I'm not exactly a spring chicken anymore. However, hopefully I can make it all the way. Yes, babes. Hopefully Kim can make it too and walk a little bit. She's got work, so she's have to take a few days for vacation and meet up along the way. But that's just a massive bowl. Look at the size of that bowl. I don't know how he expects me to eat all that. It's really good though. I haven't had the cornbread yet. I'm gonna try a piece of this cornbread. Got some cornbread right here. It's still steaming. That's good cornbread too. Would you want to start at the top, then come south? I've thought about that, but I don't know how difficult that might be. Following it backwards, I'm not sure, but I have talked about that. I've thought about that. If I did it in reverse, that would be starting up in Maine in, say, I don't know, maybe June or something, or May. June, July, August, September, October. So you can get back down south before the snow starts hitting. That would be my guess. Yeah, cornbread's really good too. Anybody else love bean and ham soup? The cornbread's super sweet. That's really good cornbread. I ain't had cornbread in a hot minute. You can take in like amazing views like that. But I think I'm just going to do it slow, take my time, don't push it that much. I don't want any injuries or anything like that, so. But yeah. The other thing too is starting in the south in like February, it's still going to be a little chilly. Then the further you move north, it's going to get a little cooler, but you know, come August or something, being up in Maine, that would be great to be up there around August, because I know down this way in August it's like super hot. Squash casserole. I don't think I've ever had squash casserole. I like squash though. I like squash. I like butternut squash. That's really good. Spaghetti squash. I used to make spaghetti squash at home and do. I don't know. Sometimes I miss butter and cinnamon in it. Other times I do like Parmesan cheese, mozzarella cheese, and a little spaghetti sauce with it. But it was pretty good. But yeah, I like it. All right, anybody got anything else? I love the conversation. And the comments. Paula Deen's recipe. God, I haven't heard Paula Deen in a while. Paula Deen. I used to like Paula Deen. Does she still have that restaurant? I think she's passed, right? But I feel like she had a restaurant somewhere. In Georgia or something, maybe? Yeah, I feel like she had Paula Deen's restaurant. I always wanted to go there and try it out, but haven't made it. It looks like a lot of her stuff is pretty good. This is like a different version of bean soup than I've had before, but it's very good. It's pepper forward though, so it's kind of, I don't want to say spicy, but like black pepper forward. And there's like stewed tomatoes in it, which I've never had in bean and ham before. Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Oh, you think she's still living? Okay, good. I was thinking she passed at some point, but I love Gatlinburg. I haven't been there for a long time. Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge. Yeah, Sharon, it does seem fun. However, walking the Camino, as much as I enjoyed it, I mean, it was fun. However, there's a lot of struggles and things that go along with it. But it's still fun. Like, this is cool. Apparently, in this guy's video here, there's locals who like set up on the trail and sell you food, like fruits and burgers and things like that. So that's pretty cool. Like a food truck type situation. Maybe we can slide over to Gatlinburg on our way to Ohio. Yeah. Oh, slow connection. Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we can. That would be great. Because I think I told you already, but we're going to come up to Ohio in July for, unfortunately, the 1 year of losing Daddy-O. We don't have much time because Kim's got basically like 10 days off. And we want to try to do a couple things on the way up there or on the way back, one of the two. Like go to Gatlinburg, maybe. So we might be up there for four days, maybe 4 or 5 days. But we'd love to get with you and see you while we're up there. So I will keep you posted. I'm just eating all this and chatting with you guys. Like, It's like I'm having a discussion at dinner. I wasn't expecting him to bring it in. But since he did, I don't want it to get cold. Yeah. Yeah, we're coming up. I'd be afraid of getting lost on the trail. I haven't really, in my research on the trail so far, I haven't really seen people who have gotten that lost yet. So I feel like it might be fairly well marked, I hope. But I'll be looking into that too, probably for the next episode. Because like this right here, I would have no idea. Like, I guess you just go over the top of the mountain, follow the stones. Oh yeah. Plus, I would say if you're walking the trail that you should be running into people fairly regularly on the trail. So I would think that if you're going for a while and you don't see anybody, that you might be going the wrong way. Oh, he proposed to his girlfriend on the top. That's cool. Oh, Katahinden. That's the that's like the last stop before the 100 miles through the wilderness before you get to the very end. So I guess they stopped at Katahinden. Anyway, pretty cool. Northbound on the Appalachian Trail. There's a lot of info out there about the Appalachian Trail. A lot of people have hiked it. Robin, are you still here in town or are you gone? I don't know. I haven't heard from you. You'll just have to send me a message later. That's the start with the arch. Well, battery's running low. I didn't bring my charger, so. Anyway. Alright, guys. Well, I guess I'll let everyone go. I'm going to go shoot my TikToks and finish up my giant bowl of bean and ham soup here I have. Which I think I've done some pretty good damage to it just chatting with you guys. And I ate a big chunk of that cornbread. Anyway. Thank you guys so much for stopping on the Pint Time. I truly appreciate it. Please share with your friends and family. I'd appreciate that too. Just share the live right on your homepage there. That would be pretty cool. And yeah, so next week will be part 2 of the Appalachian Trail. I'll start talking about the... Oh, there it goes. I'll start talking about the... what type of gear to use, what type of food to pack, and things like that. So... in Georgia, coming back down next week. Oh, okay, cool. Let me know when you're back down. In Georgia. I'm in Georgia. Anyway. Alright, guys. Thank you guys so much. I truly appreciate it. I hope you all have an amazing rest of the evening. An amazing week. And I will see you all next Saturday on Pint Time with Backpacker Mike. My cheaters want to keep sliding down on me. Anyway, as always, peace, love, and let's continue to experience this beautiful world together. I'll see you next time on Pint Time with Backpacker Mike. Peace.